Yeah, welcome to the Five Reasons Sports Post Game Show, aka the Post Up on 5R. I'm your host, Royal A. Shepherd, and with me today, I have my guy, Jonathan Rumacon, Ariel Latias, Brian Young, aka Brian is the King, and the Godfather himself, Alfredo Artiaga from 3 Yards Per Carry, and more other shows on the Five Reasons Sports Network. But that's not what matters today. Today, fellas, we experienced the first bit of pain in the playoffs, had a bit of optimism that we could go off of. We saw a lot of good things, we saw a lot of bad things. But before I sit up here and talk too long, we're going to start with you today, Ariel. Ariel, what did you see from today's 107-109 overtime loss to the Milwaukee Bucks in game one?
I saw a great game, first and foremost. Like, I'm still sweating. That was crazy intense. Man, I thought, the Heat were right there. Like, I didn't think they played a poor offensive game. Let's call it like we see it. And the main reason for that is because, A, the Bucks are really good defensively. They make you take the shots that they want you to take. They absolutely wall off the paint. Like, it's hard. You can't get anything below the free throw line. It's really, really tough against them. They're huge. They have a ton of size, and they rotate. Everything's sharp defensively. Like, they are a really good defensive team. But the other reason is that the Heat got a lot of good looks, surprisingly, against that defense, and they just didn't make them. Like, they shot sub 40% for the game. Jimmy and Bam shot a combined, I don't know what, sub 25%. Like, it was bad. And they were 37. Right there. That's really bad. But they were right there. Like, that's 25%, right? They were right there. I don't know what else to say. Like, I thought this was definitely the game. Like, you kind of needed to get this one because given how poorly you played, you were right there. And I don't expect the Bucks to shoot that poorly from three going forward. But credit the Heat's defense. I thought it was great. Tough game, tough way to lose, but I think we get a long series here.
Absolutely. So, Brian, like Ariel alluded to, we got tough games from Jimmy and Bam. One of the things that was particularly concerning for me was Jimmy Butler shooting 9 3-pointers in this game. I just thought that was kind of weird and out of the way. Thank you, Talking Movies, for the $2.99 donation. He said, I felt like we were down 2 the entire game. It was a nip and tuck game, bro. Like, we were right there. But, Brian, what did you see from today's game?
I saw it's going to be a competitive ass series, man. The Heat were right there, like everybody said. The Bucks defense is great. I think the one thing that sticks out to me most that actually really, really concerns me is the fact that the Heat outshot the Bucks by 15 from 3. Right, the Bucks only had 5 threes this game. That amounts to about 15 points. The Heat, 15 of I don't know what from 3, 45. So they outscored them about 20 from that 3-point line. If it's any closer, this is a pretty solid Bucks win. So I'm not sure that the Bucks are going to shoot that poorly from 3. But on the other end, I think we've talked about this. The Bucks have one of the worst 3-point defenses in the league, and that's probably why Jimmy felt comfortable taking those threes. You could see that they were going to Duncan early, and it worked. But, man, that really, really concerns me as this series goes along. But in this game, it kept the Heat in it. And, Duncan was a flamethrower, which I think they're going to need more of in going down the series.
So I'm going to come to you last, Alfredo, because you have a level of wisdom that the rest of us collectively could only dream of. We're going to talk no, I'm not even going to start the subject. Jonathan Rumacon, we did the good, the bad, the ugly live the other day talking about a preview of this series. What did you see today in the game?
I just felt like our stars were lackluster on offense, right? I felt like they were phenomenal on defense. Both Jimmy and Bam were absolute terrors on defense, but when it came to the offensive side, just lackluster. They didn't have it there. Like you said, Jimmy attempted too many threes, I felt like. I'm not sure if it was because every time he would go to the rim, he would get knocked down, and the refs wouldn't even think about calling that a flagrant, but they would call the other thing a flagrant on, Duncan Robinson fighting over screen. I'm getting heated up. But, the two stars kind of they let us down this game on the offensive end, and, they did everything perfect defensively, but how many times are you going to get this kind of game from Duncan Robinson and Goran Dragic at the same time, right? A lot of this time, sometimes it doesn't line up these ways. Goran gave you a hell of a game. He looked like I think Brady said it on Twitter, like playoff Goran. Duncan was absolutely nuts, man. Like, pay this man all of his money. He earned this money this game. If he continues to do what he did today in the future, we can get this, we can get this series. But horrible execution down the stretch. It felt like game 2 or game 3 against the Dallas Mavericks when we were just shooting threes. We were up 15, and then they ended up winning that game. We just kept shooting threes over and over. We were settling on offense. We weren't executing down the stretch, and I mean, I felt like they handed us this game. I'm sure there's a lot of good things that we can take away moving forward, but this was one that we could have had and we should have had, but we ended up didn't having.
So, Alfredo, you were kind of giving us some perspective behind scenes before we started. Bring that to the stream, man. What were you thinking?
Yeah, just like Jonathan just said, as far as execution, man, when Jimmy gets that screen and he's going to the basket against a drop defense, the backside guy, and this is basketball 101, the backside guy is always going to get that baseline. Jimmy has to go there. He can't pick up the basketball. I thought the game was lost right there. But as far as the macro sense of how the game was lost, they couldn't score. Jimmy and Bam couldn't score. And then they had a good game plan. In the pregame show, I said, you know, if you could limit, or not limit, but try to induce Drew Holiday shots, then you had a better chance of winning. Because if you look at the win-loss splits for the Bucks all year, they win when Middleton and Giannis have high usage. Drew is essentially a role player. When Drew is putting up shots and he has the ball and he's involved in the offense, they tend to lose. I thought the game plan was really good. They tried to induce Drew to do more than what he should have done. Budenholzer fell right into Spo's trap. And I thought the game plan was good, man. But sometimes, you know, you play a really good team and it's a possession for possession game and you end up coming out on the short end of the stick. And, you know, it's no shame. You know, Middleton has been doing this for years. He can get that jumper over everybody. And that's what cost them the game. But there was a lot of little moments in that game. And I thought that turnover by Jimmy was the death knell. And it was just on pure bad execution. Something that he should have known, something that he probably knows. Like right now, he's probably sitting at his locker like, man, I really screwed that up. And I think that's where the game was lost, right there on that turnover.
Yeah, so we want to thank I got Brett, the movie guy, for the $1.99 donation. He said Giannis got away with a travel. Look, this game can't be boiled down to any one missed call or any single mistake or any like it. It's not. It was a myriad of things because we had our opportunities, like you guys alluded to. Duncan and Goran gave us phenomenal games, and you just don't know how many of those that you can count on from a night in and night out basis. But on the flip side, we didn't get the best performance from Kendrick Nunn. We definitely didn't get the best performance from Tyler Hero, but I don't believe that either of those players were the reason that we won or lost this game. Chris Middleton just made a great shot in overtime, and one of the things Alfredo said is like this is going to be a long series. Like this is from this game today. The margin between these teams is very small. So I'll let you guys do your own thing in terms of picking a player and talking about them individually. I really want to hear whoever has to pick Bam because if you guys don't, I'll pick his ass for you. Alfredo, we'll start it. We're going to go the other direction now. You pick a player, talk about their game tonight.
Okay, I'm going to talk about Bam, but I'm going to talk about all our frontline players, okay? If you have a good game plan and it bears out, then you create high Drew Holiday usage, right? So everything's right. So what can Giannis do without the ball as good as anybody else in the NBA, right? He could play off the ball and get on the offensive glass, right? You got to find him. You got to put a body on him. You have to hit him. You have to watch. You have to find him. You have to find him as soon as the ball goes up, and you have to keep him off of the offensive glass. I thought Bam, I'm not going to call him soft, but he played a soft game. Like I wanted to see some guys actually get into Giannis and keep him off of that glass. That was essentially another difference in the game. There was so many little, like, you know, you could parse this, parse that, and say, okay, we lost the game here, we lost the game there, we lost the game there. When you add them all up and you lose by a bucket in overtime, you got to feel good about correcting all these mistakes and then looking forward to game two. But physicality with Giannis on the boards, that has to happen. If it doesn't happen and he's going to keep getting 17, 18 board games and getting 6 or 7 offensive boards, then the Heat are in trouble. They're going to be in these tight games down the stretch.
So thank you, Ari Simmons, for the $4.99. Don't know. He said Jimmy and Bam did not look like themselves today. Something was off. And yes, absolutely. And that's kind of going to what Alfredo was talking about in terms of Bam. Him playing a soft game, I think offensively, in terms of him being soft, he had that mid-range jumper all game. They gave him that look. They were essentially standing with 2 feet in the paint, waiting for him to just turn his back to the basket and wait for Duncan Robinson. And he took it a couple of times, but I don't think that he was as decisive as he should have been with the ball and going to that shot. Like he had it all game, and he could have took it. And a lot of us were thinking that he would have taken it considering the circumstances, but we just never got to that point in the game, and it was really disappointing. Like towards the end, where it was like, damn, bro, we needed you at a time. Like your defense is great, but we need your offense right now. You're not providing that with us.
Can I jump in on that?
Go ahead.
I hear what you guys are saying about Bam having a quote unquote soft game. I will counter that by saying this before I address the offensive stuff. Number one, defensively, like I believe Jonathan mentioned, he was a monster. Like he was, I thought he was phenomenal defensively. He made Giannis work. He was amazing as a help side defender. Like he did a lot of elite level stuff defensively, both him and Jimmy. Now, while both had poor offensive games, the reason for Jimmy taking a ton of threes is because of the way the Bucks guard. I muted myself.
Yeah.
They wall off the paint and they force you to take those shots. Whenever Jimmy tries to drive, if he gets cut off, which happens a lot, they have really good defenders. He picks up the ball. He's at the 3-point line. Everybody else is guarded. You kind of have to take that shot. I don't love all of them, but I understand why they were taken. But as far as Bam goes, the reason, look, he took 15 shots. We're always talking about his aggressiveness, and I agree that in the first half, he needed to attack more. The drop was there all night, and he had that mid-range look whenever he wanted. But in the second half, I thought he took it a little bit more. The reason I thought he didn't take it maybe as much as everybody wants is that Duncan was on fire, and he was freeing up Duncan repeatedly. And so when Duncan's shooting like that, and he has 7 threes or 8 threes or whatever he had, that's the reason I think that Bam isn't looking to shoot against that drop coverage every single time. He's thinking, let me get Duncan open. And it paid off. It paid dividends. Like, Duncan was unbelievable. Do we want Bam to shoot more against the drop? Probably. But do we want him shooting all night against the drop? I don't think so. That's not his game.
No, we don't want him shooting all night. But I think Ethan tweeted this out where it was like Bam the whole night was trying to get Duncan open as opposed to trying to use Duncan to get himself open. And that is something that we're talking about here. Like just sometimes, like of course he got more aggressive in the second half, but considering that it's the playoffs, you have to be consistent in what you're trying to do. And I think Bam needs to be more intentional about his offensive game as opposed to just wishy-washy and doing whatever. Thank you, Jeffrey Nielsen, for the $5 dono. He said, I'm completely done with Bam on the offensive end. Okay, bro. He said, he is a lost cause. Stop it. Dude is – okay, I'm not reading the rest of that shit. But thank you for your money. Jonathan Ramlakan, pick a player and talk about him, bro.
I'm gonna go with the best player the player that I think had the best game, and I'm gonna go with Duncan Robinson because the way that Duncan Robinson was working on offense and just making the shots that were difficult was absolutely incredible. Not only that, what he did on defense to Chris Middleton. Sure, Chris Middleton had to hit some really tough shots, but in contrast to last year when we saw Duncan guarding Chris Middleton, it's night and day against what he's doing this year. He's doing it so much better. He's able to keep his hips in line. He's able to use his wingspan a lot better. So I loved what I saw from him on defense as well. And the way that he's able to open things up, like you said, Bam and Jimmy had that mid-range all night long. And because the gravity Duncan had, he had that one shot that was in Steph range. Because of the gravity that he has, he's able to open things up for guys. And like you said about Bam, he needs to be more intentional about these shots. He's thinking too much about what's going on around him before going for the shot. If he just thinks to score right away, then he's more likely to get that shot because he's focused on it. But because he's always looking for the guy around him, he's not allowed to do that. So I felt like, Duncan's doing great. If he's able to keep this up, man, there's no way we can't pay this guy his money.
Oh, we're going to pay Duncan Robinson. I think that's a foregone conclusion at this point. Like nobody should be questioning whether or not Duncan will get paid how much. It doesn't matter how much he asks for. He's going to get it from Miami. Okay, so he'll be here next year. Y'all can put that shit to bed. Jason Adeboale, thank you for coming with the $9.99. Don't know. He said, and we're talking about Bam being a top 10 player beginning of the season. Okay. We were talking about Bam being a top 10 player.
Right.
He said, I understand why fans of other teams were sick when they heard that he ain't better than Middleton.
Come on.
Okay, like I don't know where you want me to go with that. I appreciate the sentiment, dude. You know what I mean? Like I understand people's frustration with Bam Adebayo. I do, but if you cannot see value in what he does defensively, then I can't help you. Like Bam Adebayo, a lot of people want Bam to get stats. He's not that type of defender. He's not the type of defender that's going to block your shot or nothing like that. He's going to make you miss, which is what he does. He makes people miss, and that's what he did to Giannis tonight. Like Giannis took a lot of shots to get the points that he got. And that's primarily because Bam was locking that ass up. He was locking that shit up, bro. So it was like, dog, like you gotta take what you get from Bam Adebayo because he's definitely one of the better young players, and he's gonna be a staple in what Miami tries to do going forward. Brian, before people start saying let Brian speak, go ahead and pick your player and talk about his game tonight, bro.
Tonight I got to eat a little bit of crow because I feel like I've been talking a lot of shit about Goran Dragic and his age this season. 40-year-old Goran Dragic had a damn good game tonight. Shot 5 of 10 from 3, which, hey, man, props to him. It felt like he was doing pretty much whatever he wanted to on offense. He had a really good defensive play on, I don't know I forgot if it was Drew or Chris, but I was like, damn, Goran, all right, I see you. I'm not expecting him to be a stopper on every possession, but, having little plays like that and coming through on off, I think he was the first or second leading scorer. I don't know if he had more or less points than Duncan tonight, but he looked great. He looked like
Goran had 25 and Duncan
he was
had
first.
24.
Okay, yeah, exactly. He looked like playoff Goran from last year. I don't know what fountain of youth he went to before the playoffs, but he looked great. So, props to Goran for playing the type of game that I thought helped keep the heat in this game.
So thank you, Ari Simons, for the $4.99. Don't know. He said at the end of the day, we lost by 2 when our 2 top guys don't play great. I'm still confident. Heat and 6. I said Heat and 7, but I'm fucking with Heat and 6 too, bro. After what I saw today, bro, legit, bro. They're not that much better than us. These games are going to be a toss of a coin every fucking game. Like, I picked Heat and 7 before the series, so it's like that lets you know that these teams are evenly matched. Thank you, Jason Adeboale, for the $4.99. Don't know. He said value in defense. Gobert is going to have 4 Defensive Player of the Year award. No one ever calls him a possible top 10 player. That's on us Heat fans, I guess. Thank you, Brett. Brett, the movie guy, for the $1.99. Don't know. He said Karan Butler was the true MVP of this game. Yeah, he damn sure got that 10-second call on Giannis tonight, and that was
smart.
Yeah, it was brilliant, bro. And that's why you need tough juice on the sideline. Thank you, Carlos Morris, for the $1.99. Don't know. A lot of walk, not caught on Giannis. He's never going to get caught for traveling. He's never going to get caught for traveling, bro.
He got caught for one. He got caught for one down the stretch, and I guess
when he tried the Euro. And you know why he got caught for it? Because Bam Adebayo was right there stonewalling that ass while he was trying to go in there.
Right.
Yeah. Feel free to jump in on any conversation that's being had at the time. I feel like we're too scripted right now. But Ariel Latiz, go ahead and make your case for your player tonight.
So who have we taken? Alfredo took Bam, Jonathan took Duncan, and Brian, you took Goran, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with Jimmy, man. Like, he shot horribly, first and foremost. Part of that is the Bucks defense was designed to get him to take jumpers. Yep. Right? Like, they walled him off every time he tried to get into the paint. He was seeing 2, 3 green shirt or whatever color they were wearing. I don't even remember. A couple of Bucks shirts every single time he tried to get into the paint. And so people that are complaining in the chat and on Twitter about Jimmy shooting too many jumpers, you got to understand that's what you're going to get a lot of the time against this Bucks defense. They make you take those shots. You don't have another option a lot of the time. The last play of the game, of regulation rather, where Jimmy drove by Giannis and got that tough bucket, that's Jimmy Butler, man. Like, he is tough as nails. I love that dude. I wouldn't want anybody else leading this team. I thought he played a hard game. Like, what I love about Jimmy, and it's kind of crazy that we'll knock other players for doing this sometimes, is if he's not making his shots, at least in the playoffs, because it's a different Jimmy Butler in the playoffs than it is in the regular season, but he's not making a shot today, he keeps on shooting. He believes that I'm going to get it going and I'm going to take this thing home. Did he take too many threes? Probably, in the grand scheme of things, more than you would want, but that's just what he was getting. Like, he wasn't able to get into the paint every single time. That's just the defense. That's what the Bucks do, and it's part of why, Bam Adebayo is having rougher games against them too. Like, they have the personnel to make things really difficult on you. That's what you're going to get.
So, to your point about Jimmy Butler, like, when you're saying like he keeps shooting even like when he's not going well, up until the last shot of the game, like when the shot that took us to overtime, I wanted Jimmy Butler to shoot a fucking 3.
I want to take every shot. I
tweeted it on Twitter. I don't give a fuck what's going on. Give the ball to Jimmy Butler, shoot a 3, win this shit. Let's go home. Like,
right.
But that's not what ended up happening. He made a better decision, and we ended up in overtime and got beat there. Thank you, Ravi Patel, for the $4.99 donation. Jimmy is a guaranteed player to play better than Bam. Goddamn. Jimmy is guaranteed to play better. You need to punctuate, Ravi Patel. Bam can't play any worse on offense. Playoff Goran is back, and Duncan almost led us to a Heat win. Yes, indeed. Heat in 6. So let's do this. Everybody, I want you guys to pick one particular part of the game. Like, what do you believe was the most important factor in today's game? Like, win or loss. Oh, no, I didn't do my player yet. Fuck. My player is going to be Tyler fucking Hero. Listen.
My guy.
man, yeah, bro. Listen, bro. It makes no difference for me to bash on this man's game because it had no impact on the outcome of this game. Like him shooting fucking terrible had no impact on the outcome of this game at all. But he was indeed terrible. He was going ISO too many times. It was just every time he touched the ball, he stopped the ball on offense, and he was just jacking up shit that most of it was ill-advised, but that's his normal shot selection. If it's going in, we're having a different conversation. But here's the problem that we've been having with Tyler Hero the entire season is the inconsistencies. In a game like this, if Tyler Hero makes half of his shots, we probably could win. Maybe. I don't know. But like I said, I don't believe his shit had no impact. But to Spo's credit, he only played him 19 minutes tonight. He usually would have stayed with him the entire fourth quarter, even if he was playing like this. So I want to give Spo credit on that end. And Kendrick Nunn, we haven't really touched on him. He shot 4 of 10 or whatever. Like any thoughts on those two guys' game tonight?
Well, I'll say this about Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero put the butter on the skillet to start the fourth quarter, and he got a quick hook. I felt like I thought they should have rid him out a little bit more once he hit the three to start the fourth quarter. But Kendrick Nunn, I'm afraid that experiment is over with. I think you could see if this series, even if they tie it on Monday, I think you could see Goran back into the starting lineup because he just did what he did last year at times and what he did in the playoffs at times, which is he kept deferring, and he doesn't understand what he is effective at in the regular season is what you need in the playoffs. He has to be aggressive. He has to be forward-looking. He has to be when the screen is set. He can't dribble around the screen and then try to reset the entire offense because then all you're doing is killing shot clock. So, I don't know. He's going to have to play a lot better in game 2, and all he really has to do is just be aggressive. He has to get shots up.
I think I'm with you in terms of Kendrick Nunn. Not in the fact that he's going to be replaced. I think he does have to get shots up, but I don't believe that Kendrick Nunn is going to replace. I don't know. I can't believe that. Jonathan, you about to jump in?
I was going to say I disagree that we should have wrote out the Hero thing more because I feel like the type of shots that Hero shoots, right? The way that Bucks best go and operate their offense is off a fast break or off a rebound and going off right away. And with Tyler Hero taking these early shot clock shots that are kind of out of the sync of the offense, the team isn't really prepared to create that shot, right? It's when he's shooting the ball, everybody has to react to it instead of knowing that's the shot we're looking for. So with Hero, he's taking those kind of shots. Milwaukee is always going to be at the advantage. They're always going to be able to run, and then we're going to be at a mismatch defensively. That's why slowing the game down, I feel like, although Kendrick Nunn didn't have a great game offensively, defensively, he did some things that I like to see. I think he did a pretty decent job on Drew when he switched on to Middleton or to some other players. He did, he fought defensively as well. He was looking for the weak side help. So I felt like Nunn still had a solid game. You'd want to see him be a little more intentional, to steal your word with, making sure that when the drop defense is happening, looking for that jump shot instead of looking around and looking for it. But I think that's something that we could see in game 2.
So one thing I got Symbol of Sports for the $5 dono. LeBron James sees 3 rims and Bam can't see 1. He's frustrated. We need to leave Milwaukee 1-1. Look, we still have the opportunity to leave Milwaukee 1-1. For what we saw tonight, this could full well, if Miami hits a lot of those shots or hit a lot of those looks that they had, this could full well be a blowout next game. And this complete. Go ahead.
I can't understand how everybody's not on here, not on this panel, but I just mean in general, everybody's so doomsday about this. The Heat played like shit offensively. Okay, they shot they were pretty good from 3, and they still shot under 40% from the game, which means that they couldn't make anything. And it's going to be tough, in the paint against that Bucks defense. But like Alfredo was alluding to, and Jonathan as well, that drop coverage, that jumper coming off the screen from the mid range is going to be there all series. The Heat, you hope the Heat guards will, be better with that as it goes forward. But it was a great game. Why are we all on here crying about Bam and Jimmy and this and that? Everybody relax.
Because it was wasted. We had a Jimmy Butler game-tying shot, and it was wasted.
I agree. One of the first things I said when I got on here was that was one that they needed to win. That doesn't mean that I don't think they can still win the series, but right. I'm just they were right there on the road against a Bucks team that absolutely slaughtered them in the paint, and the Heat couldn't make anything if it wasn't a 3 tonight. And their 2 best players couldn't get anything going either, and they lost on a game winner in overtime. Let's all breathe.
That's okay. Whatever. I don't fucking want to breathe. I
Craziness.
want to overreact right now, bro. What are you talking about? Let's talk about
this Goran game for another week. We don't know when this is
That's
happen.
concerning.
We saved this whole 10 days of rest for this moment.
Hey, it's playoff Goran. That's a real thing. I think we're getting this every night.
I honestly believe that Goran,
so.
but I don't think we can get it every night. But I do believe that Goran might can do it 2 games in a row. Like I legit believe that. Brian, you haven't talked in a while, and I'm trying to prove. I'm preemptively going on that let Brian speak shit. I do not want to see it in the comments. Brian, somebody told us to talk about Trevor Ariza, sometimes the unsung hero of this team, and I think he played really well tonight, despite shooting 3 for 8. Like he just quietly does his job. But before you talk, I want to thank Jason Adeboele for the $4.99. Don't know. He said, let's not lose sight of the fact that the Bucks were also not that good on offense. Oh, don't worry. We'll get to their ass too. We're going to go a little bit longer than we customarily do because it's the fucking playoffs. But Brian, go ahead and talk about Trevor Ariza.
First, I want to say shout out to Trevor Ariza for the clutch corner 3 in the 4th quarter. Yeah, man. Like all Trevor Ariza has to do is be a solid 3 and D4. That's it, right? If you do that, you give the Heat a damn good chance of winning the series, and he did that tonight. I thought he played pretty good defense on Giannis. I felt like the offense is meh, but that's kind of run of the mill for Trevor Ariza. So I don't know, man. He's going to be consistent force, I think, in most games. I think as long as he doesn't overstep his boundaries on offense, he's going to be a decent player, right? This is what he's essentially sat out a whole year for, is to be a solid contributor at the 4 for some team, being the Heat. And he did that. So I'm pretty happy with Trevor Ariza's game tonight.
He said overstep his boundaries on offense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sometimes Trevor Ariza gets a little trigger happy and it doesn't work out too well. But he didn't do that this game, which is great.
Alfredo, what are your thoughts on Trevor's game?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Did you see that take when he took it right to the rack? He looked like he was going to break every bone in his body, and he got the bucket. I thought he should have gotten an and 1 on that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
All right? But I thought he was good. You know who was quiet and should have been a little bit louder as far as his game making an impact because he had opportunities was Andre Iguodala. Like, he was wallpaper in this game. Like, did he play? Like, what's his I don't know. Like,
Andre Iguodala, 15 minutes, 1 for 2 from the field, 1 from 3, 5 rebounds, 3 personal fouls, 2 points, 1 assist.
In the words of Gadiel Cartagena, cardio.
Yeah, like Andre Iguodala, like, look, those 5 rebounds in 15 minutes, like, that's kind of huge. But man, did he play? Like, he had opportunities. Like, he's a good passer. He's a smart basketball player. He knows how to get guys in the right spots. And I didn't think he put an imprint in this game, but I thought one guy, and I said it in the pregame, you gotta render Brook Lopez useless. And if you render him useless, then you can worry about their top 2 guys, which is how they win. They win with Chris Middleton and Giannis Antetokounmpo high usage. That's how they win. They lose with Drew Holiday high usage, high shots, putting up shots, having the ball in his hands and running high pick and roll. That's how they lose. But if they also get a contribution from Brook Lopez, that's a problem for the Heat, and that's more problems that they got to worry about. And I thought Brook Lopez made a huge difference in this game, and they're going to have to cook something up for him. They're going to have a plan for him because they can't allow him to have these quiet – what did he have, 18 and 9 tonight?
I didn't think it was quiet at all. Whatever it was.
18 and 8. 18 and 8, though.
I hate that.
18 and 8. Well, yeah. I considered it quiet because Middleton hit the big shot, and then Giannis almost had a 20-20 on you. You know what I mean? Right. But, yeah, they got to render Brook Lopez useless in this series. Because
I think that 20-20 was more quiet than Brook Lopez's 18 and 8. I feel like Giannis had 0 impact on the game. First of all, let's get to some of these comments talk about my dog. Like, if somebody asked, is that with Paul Blart talking? Hey, bro, first, did somebody else ask? Somebody said, did someone ask if Alfredo is the GOAT? You better recognize who the OG is out here, bro. Okay, go back and look at some of last year's post-game shows. Alfredo was right there. I don't have to explain his resume, man. It speaks for itself, man.
Just know that he has goons. So watch it in the comments.
Eyes on the streets.
I tell you. So thank you, John James, for the $4.99. Don't know. He said Bam is not a 5, not skilled enough. Oh God, not skilled enough to be 2021.
Why do we do this every game?
It's
ridiculous.
Look, bro, they can do it as much as they want. Slander Bam all you want, as long as you're giving me money. I do not care what you talk about, Bam. Thank you for your $4.99. Okay, but I don't agree with a word that you just said in that damn thing. Like,
Bam's not a 5 and he's not a 4. Like, what do you want him to play? He's be an NBA player. Like, I don't understand what
he
that
also
comment means.
He also can't score if you read the comments on here, even though he's averaging 19 points per game. Like, guys,
yeah,
this
apparently
is
being a damn near
so
20 point per game score is you can't score. I don't. What kind of a standard are we setting for Bam? Like, y'all can't expect this dude to be LeBron James or whatever, Shaq
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Right?
That's who they think.
You know how good Bam is. Bam is so good that we're bitching about his game, and he played a defensive game that about 98% of the players in the NBA can't play.
Tell him.
I don't know
how
how
good Bam is.
He was out there playing like a DB, and he was making interceptions every time they were throwing a pass. Like, he was out there playing help defense. Like Royal said, he walled up Giannis. He was out there, put him in the Adebayo penitentiary. Man, it was great.
We're just talking about give us a little bit more to just push it over the cliff.
That's
of
it.
a 2-point loss in an overtime game. That's it. That's all we were asking.
Right.
Shoot the ball two more times than you did tonight. That is what we're bitching about.
Yeah, we don't have to get reckless on here, but I mean, like you guys said, what he did defensively, like Giannis shoots 57% from the field for the season. He gets everything near the basket, and he shot 37% tonight. Like, why do you think that happens? You think that was Goran Dragic down there breaking shit up and guarding him in the post and contesting? No, that was Bam. 80% of the time, that was Bam Adebayo.
So, one thing I got Ashton Rooks for the $4.99 donation. He said, "What can Jimmy do differently on offense when Giannis is guarding him? Game 1 wasn't the Jimmy we've seen all season." Okay, that's fair. Let's get into that a little bit. I'm gonna defer to Alfredo and Ariel in terms of our X's and O's. So I'll start with you, Ariel. Ariel, what can Jimmy do differently against Giannis?
I don't know how much more Jimmy can do differently, but maybe Spo's lineups. The thing is, like, the Heat, they have good shooters, obviously, but they haven't shot well this season. And I think the answer to opening up the floor a little bit more for Jimmy to get to the rim is to have more shooting on the court. More of the lineups with Goran, Duncan. Maybe you run more 3-guard lineups with Jimmy at the 4. You'll get killed in the paint and you'll get killed on the boards, but that was happening tonight anyways. So maybe you just go, you spread it out a little bit more. You put more shooting on the court, and then Jimmy, like, everybody has to be respected around the 3-point line. And then Jimmy has more of a lane to the basket. The problem is, though, I think regardless of what lineup you put out there, when the Bucks have Brook Lopez in the game and they don't have PJ Tucker where they're switching everything, which is a different story. When they switch everything, Jimmy can hunt the matchups he wants and get to the rim. But when the Bucks,
Brent Forbes in that game, that boy he looked him dead in his face and say, "Boy, I'm finna shoot right over your little ass."
That's right. And and when Brook Lopez is in the game, it's just going to be tougher for Jimmy to get clean looks at the rim. But regardless, like, all of that being given, I don't think Jimmy shoots this poorly another time, any other game in this series. Regardless of the defensive look, regardless of the lineups, he's going to shoot the basketball better. So I think tonight was probably the floor from what you're going to see. I think this is going to motivate him. He's going to be pissed off, and he's going to come out and have a much better offensive game, regardless of any adjustments that might, make that more likely.
Alfredo, what can Jimmy do?
Well, for one, Ariel said it best. Okay, so for one, he can make some shots that are wide open, but for I think that what's more important is, like, he has to be a little bit more decisive. Like today, he picked up the ball twice for 2 turnovers in crucial spots. The second time I thought was crucial. I thought that's where the game was lost. If you get a screen against that drop defense, like I said, man, once he gets that screen and he goes, the shot has to go up. It just has to go up. If you're gonna pull up and take a jumper, that's fine. But if not, you just got to go head first into the defense and try to catch a foul and go to the free throw line. Other than that, man, they can run some of those. They try to run some pin downs and then try to reset their defense to try to get them into the post against Jrue Holiday. I think that's a good way forward, because the Bucks tend to scramble a little bit off of pin downs. So if they run a pin down and then they could run Jimmy they could flash him up to the foul line and he could catch it there, he could get himself a post opportunity against a Jrue Holiday, maybe a DiVincenzo, and maybe that's the only way that he could augment his game. Other than that, his game was there for him. Like, he just needed to make open shots. He missed a couple of layups. He had a couple of bad turnovers on bad decisions. So his game was there. If you want to augment it, I guess you could do that and try to induce a few more post-ups on Drew Holiday, because it seems like that's the plan for Milwaukee. And if it wasn't the plan, it's just because they tend to scramble a bit off of pin downs and they lose themselves, and they're very mindful of the shooters. So they tend to forget that the guy with the basketball is below the free throw line and Jimmy Butler. So I think that's the only other thing that you can add. Other than that, his game was there. His game was there for him today. He just missed shots.
So I want to flip this question for Jonathan and Brian and ask what more Bam could do, it kind of moving forward, because I believe there's a lot more there that we can look for. But before that, we got a couple of donos. Want to read Jeff 305. Thank you for the $5 dono. He said the anger for Bram comes from fans both knowing and seeing that he's capable of doing so much more on offensive end. I think we've had that conversation ad nauseum this year. Like, we've seen it, we believe it's there, we know that he has the tools. It's just a matter of him deciding to do it. And I think that's been a conversation going on this network for almost a year or more than a year. You know what I'm saying? So we recognize that, and we trust me, we're right there with you. Thank you, BB, for the $5 dono. He said, how do you think Spo should help free up Tyler Hero? Bucks completely took away our backdoor cuts, and their guards did a decent job of harassing him. Instead of you guys talking about Bam, because I think we did that, I want you guys to answer that question. Jonathan, do you think there's anything Spo could do to help free up Tyler Hero?
Not really. I mean, like, you don't want him to be the guy really, that you're initiating offense for. You just kind of want him to find his way in the offense. So the short answer, not really, no.
Brian?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the one thing for Tyler is you just want him to play. For me, I want him to play more of a facsimile of like Duncan Robinson or Kendrick Nunn, where it's essentially most of his offense is coming from catch and shoot. Like, I don't really want Tyler Hero trying to create his own offense, especially against that Bucks defense. I think if he's just working off of like completely open shots from three or at the rim, he'll be fine. Anything else outside of that, it's it could go either way.
So the answer is for him to do less.
The answer is for him to do less. Tyler Hero needs to do a lot less.
The real answer is for him to just be more decisive when he catches the ball. Like, he does this thing where, he'll try to snake his way into the defense and come off screens and move the defense and try to find stuff. But the problem is he's not decisive enough. Like, he'll be dribbling around and pounding the rock, and the shot clock is winding down, and Tyler just doesn't know where he's going with it, and he doesn't have a tight enough handle to where he's able to do that and then just create something, because he can't get by anybody, especially when you're being guarded by Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday. Like, you're just not going to get by them. So like Brian and Jonathan were saying, like, he just needs to be a guy who attacks and scrambles situations and works within the flow of the offense, as opposed to being somebody who has to ever create any offense. This is not the series for him to figure that out.
To your point, Ariel, those little snake moves usually end in him flipping some shit up at the rim that has no chance of going in the fucking basket. So I saw somebody said, did we see the Bucks celebrating this game kind of like it was a championship? No, we did not. We had to prepare for a post-game show. Thank you, HM, for the $5 dono. He said,
they were jumping up and down like they had just won a playoff game in overtime. Like,
Alfredo, we have to get like you when we grow up. You got 2 TVs playing in your background.
I know,
you can
right?
see everything, bro. Like this, the man got the ultimate setup. Thank you, HM, for the $5 dono. He said, I've never seen Jimmy do quick to pick up the basketball. Oh, so quick. I guess that's what he meant to say. I've never seen Jimmy so quick to pick up the ball off the dribble. If I were Spo, I would have Bam bring the ball up and initiate the offense. F. Lopez. I think the problem with that is that we already know what Bam's going to look for if he initiates the offense. He'll stop at the free throw line, turn his back to the basket, and wait for Duncan to run around 17 screens.
Sometimes you got to look at the rim, right? And Bam, man, that like today was one of those examples where he would dribble into the teeth of the defense. They would leave him at the free throw line, and he would stop looking at the rim. Like, you understand, you have a free throw right here, and this time they give you 2 points for it. So take that one.
Yeah, I kind of want to get into some Bucks talk. Like, I want to. It's not a Bucks cat, but I want to talk about some of the things that they did well, some of the shit that they was fucking up at, because it's important to the context of this series. But before I do that, I got some more donos. Thank you, Talking Movies, for the $5 donation. He said Jimmy just said in his post game he might shoot 9 threes next game. They will fall. He says, bro, I don't care what Jimmy Butler does. Jimmy Butler can do what he wants, bro. I trust Jimmy Butler's basketball IQ more than I trust my own. He can shoot as many threes as he wants. Like, I don't care. I trust him to do it. Uncle EBT, I think that name is fucking great. He said they scheming Bam and Butler like the Spurs did Wade and LeBron in 2013. Taking and making those jumpers will determine the series, in my opinion. That's a very good point. That's an awesome point. So let's talk about some of what the Bucks had going on tonight. I'll start with Brian. Brian, what did the Bucks do tonight that kind of impressed you with the way that they approached this series?
I would say the defense and the Bucks defense is great, but also the Heat can't score. So I don't know if it was a product of the Bucks D or just the Heat inability on offense. But you know what? I'm going to say Chris Middleton, man. That guy is so smooth. It feels like everything he put up is butter. Obviously, he hit the game winner, and I think he was the best player for the Bucks tonight or today. So that kind of he's the guy that I think the Heat really have to focus in on the next game, because I thought that this game, you know, Giannis put up the numbers, but it didn't really feel like he had a massive impact on the game. I thought Drew did defensively, but Chris Middleton was the X factor for the Bucks tonight.
Yeah, and to your point, Chris Middleton was 10 of 22 from the field tonight.
Was it?
Like that? Yes, bro. Like it felt like he was shooting much better than that. But
yeah, absolutely.
Miami's defense tonight was superb. Like they were great on that side of the ball. Like they just sucked offensively, or particularly Jimmy and Bam just sucked offensively tonight. But the rest of the guys around them is kind of like, if you get games like that from Duncan, then this usually equates to a Heat win. Because you know what you're going to get from Jimmy. You know what you're going to get from Bam. Tonight, we just didn't get it from either of them. Thank you, Jet Law, from the $2 dono. He said, Tyler solution, weight room, drive, free throws. We don't have time for that before, what is it, Monday? So he got to figure something out with that little frail body he got now. Jonathan Ramakan, what did you see from the Bucks today?
I mean, first of all, it's just how much bigger they are, right? I was looking at the rebound numbers. I was quite astounded. I don't know how much the most rebounds a team has had in the league. They had 76 rebounds. Like 76 to 57. That was the rebounding number.
I got
64. I got
64.
Yeah, I got 64 too.
You got 64?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what stats are you looking at, Jonathan Ramakan?
76, bro. I'm about to
screen record my NBA.com because I see 76, but hey.
Remember, you got to look at defensive rebound rate, and I got to look at that myself because I don't have it in front of me. But you got to remember, you get rebounds when the other team is just throwing up brick after brick after brick.
I don't think
it's possible. They had 49 defensive rebounds.
They can't possibly have 76 rebounds because the Heat missed 63 shots. So it makes sense that they would have 64 rebounds.
Yeah, they got 60. Well, because they were getting every rebound.
Well, yeah,
like they were getting every fucking.
Like I care about, like you know what I really care about. I haven't seen any of the stats. I just watched the game and then I got on here. What were the offensive rebound numbers? Like that would be interesting. That's an interesting number to look into.
15 offensive rebounds. Yep.
I was about to say, Jonathan Ramakan, I no longer trust your statistician. You just told me
so they had 15. What do we get? I think we had 12.
We had 12.
We had 12.
That's pretty close.
Okay,
yeah,
that's not terrible.
Like that's crazy because you're eyeballing it. That's fucking outrageous, Alfredo Arteaga. But yeah, Jonathan Ramakan, finish your point, bro.
Yeah. Well, it felt like they had 76 rebounds, right? Because that's what it did. Like they were getting every offensive rebound, even when they were boxing out. There was one time where Giannis got the rebound as Jimmy was boxing him out, which was kind of nuts to see. But we need to be more. We need to rebound with more conviction. We need to make sure that we're all blocking out, that we're making sure that if that ball gets tipped, we're all going towards it. There was a couple times that I felt like we let the Bucks get to the ball faster than we did. And allowing second chance points when we're playing one of the fastest paced teams is not going to go good for us. We need to limit that, first of all. Second of all, I felt like the way they were able to do everything inside and just dunk the ball instead of laying everything up. They were getting a lot of dunks. You know, I feel like that's something they did really well. They were outscoring us in the paint. I'm not sure of the numbers with that, but they dominated us in the paint with rebounds and field goals. So I think that's the main thing moving forward with the Bucks, that we have to see how they go from there.
56 to 24 in the paint, Jonathan.
Yeah. Our visions. We just let Brian talk. I tried to avoid this. If you guys are wondering what I'm pouring into the cup, it is actually the primary sponsor of the 5 Reasons Sports Postgame Show, Biscayne Bay Brewing. Biscayne Bay Brewing, make sure you guys check them out. They're the locally owned brewery in the heart of Miami. You got several beers that they have. They have the Pastime Pilsner, the La Colada Porter. They have the Marlins Lager. The Miami Pale Ale. I'm looking up because I was waiting for Alejandro to put these bitches up on the screen like they usually have.
Bay IPA.
Oh, thank you, Alfredo Artiaga. They sponsor his show too, so he knows all of them. But yeah, make sure you check out Biscayne Bay Brewery. Go to your local restaurants, ask for it if you don't see it. Also, they are at Miami Marlins and Miami Heat games, so you guys can check them out there. But yeah, Alfredo Artiaga, your turn. Pick something about the Buck game.
Yeah, what Jonathan was saying is kind of interesting. He's talking about the rebounding and the role it played in this game. It's a double-edged sword because you could see Spo actually called for them to crash boards today. And a lot of those long rebounds were because whenever you see a team is going to crash boards with their guards, they're going to face up their man. Once the shot is gone, you see that they leave their man. And they leave their man right to the bucket, and they're going to go right to the bucket to try to essentially double team the rebounders, which are going to be the big guys that are going to be inside the dotted line. The Heat did that. And I think it allowed for a lot of long rebounds that gave them extra possessions. So that could be something that they might not do going forward. They might stay with their man this time Monday. As far as what the Bucks did, man, I thought they had while Spo was trying to induce a lot of high usage from Drew Holiday, I thought that they diversified their attack a little bit. And they started running some side pick and roll with Brook Lopez, which actually – it's painful to watch, but, foul's a foul, I guess, right? But you see this big lumbering dinosaur down the lane, and he gets an and one. That's a good call. It's just a good call because, you can't get out of the way of the guy, and, it's just good offensive basketball. I think they diversified their attack, and, I would expect they're going to be a little bit more focused going forward, and it's going to be a little bit easier to defend. I thought this game was a little bit more freewheeling than I expected.
Yes, indeed. So thank you, Big D, for the $4.99. Don't know. He said if they dominated us on the paint, how did Bam have such a great game defensively? Isn't he our starting center? I told you guys that I would love to take your money, but I'm no longer going to acknowledge your stupid comments about Bam Adebayo. So we have the 5 Reasons Sports Master General, Ethan J. Skolnick, joining us today.
You're walking into
what if I make the same comments? What happens?
Yeah, I would ignore your ass too. As long as if you don't put no money in there, Ethan, I'm not even gonna read it.
I'm gonna put money into this thing. All right, go continue. Right. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go underneath the hood and let you guys know what just happened with Ethan. Ethan put us in the background. Ethan put in the private chat. He said, "Set me up." Okay, so I was gonna introduce him, and then Alejandro has just threw Ethan up on the screen. So that surprised me. I was gonna actually introduce him before he got on. But since you're here now, we know you got plenty to say. Let us know your thoughts on the first game, Ethan.
Well, we just did it on the pod. Alex and I just got in a heated argument where I basically just cut the pod off at the end while he was continuing to babble on about how Spo needs to give Bam more opportunities. Here's my thing about Bam, and Royal, you can cut me off if I want. Spo will give Bam more opportunities when he shows he wants more opportunities. That's the way that he operates. Okay, if you're going to sit there and pump fake, and not look at the basket when Brook Lopez is playing drop 7 feet behind. Okay, and you're going to dribble into a harder shot and just take it because Jimmy's screaming at you to shoot the effing ball, then no, they're not going to run much more for you. Okay, and to me, what I took a couple of things out of this game. One, I thought that the Bucks had made more strides against the Heat. I actually think that the Heat are slightly better, or this series is even. That's what I came at it today thinking, and the reason for that is this: I don't think anybody expected we'd see Goran Dragic from the bubble again. If the Heat get that Goran Dragic 2 out of every 3 games in this series, they win the series. Okay, to me, that's it, because that was him against the drop last year, him attacking, making the right decisions, just looking like a pro. Like, I didn't know that we were going to get that in this series necessarily, and it looks like we are. So to me, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, if you get that Goran and you just get Jim, and I'm okay with. The only thing I didn't like about Jimmy today, okay, he got to his spots in the first half. I don't like the early clock threes. I don't understand him not calling timeout at the end of the game. I don't understand him waiting 7 seconds to foul Giannis at the end of regulation. Like, he did some stuff at the end of the game I don't really get. But he'll get to his spots. My bigger concern is Bam. It's Bam. We can't keep having the same conversation. It's game 1 of the playoffs, guys. Like, he has to attack. I get the defensive stuff. Okay, I don't care about the contract, but they're guarding him in a way, and they're daring him to be an alpha, and he was like not even a beta. What would you call him today? What would be a C, a D, an E, an FB? I mean, they're not
gamma.
Right, it's not going to work with him doing that. It's all out of love. I think all of us just think he's better than he thinks he is. Like this is the same conversation.
I kind of feel responsible for making fun of Draymond Green in the pregame show. Because he had a couple of those moments in this game that weren't pretty.
I just don't understand. Like Jimmy should not have to scream at him to take a damn shot. Like it's just we're past that. Now on the other side, I'll say this too. Drew Holiday is good, but Drew Holiday is not an offensive difference maker in this series. I think their whole attitude is if Drew's going to get his. They need a better plan for Chris Middleton, and I understand. This is what I was told. Jimmy asked to guard Giannis. He asked to guard Giannis. That is, he wanted to guard Giannis. His whole thing is Giannis won't guard me. I'll guard him. I'll ask you.
We won't know what you're trying to ask me. What happened to your sound, Ethan?
That's my Chinese food. That's my Chinese food. Hold on. I'll ask you that question. Sorry, the Chinese food is coming. Is it smart to have Jimmy guard Giannis? Because I'll ask this. Because to me, it takes something out of you on the other end. Like, I get pride and all that, but is it smart?
Absolutely not.
I don't know. Like, Miami was able to defend Giannis differently than they did last year. Like, the build-the-wall concept was not as huge for them today. Like, because they were able to get some individual matchups on Giannis and just stop him that way. So they did a better job on other players, but I don't know if it's worth it. I wouldn't say that it's not smart. I would say that it's probably not worth it to let Jimmy go over there when we have so many different options that could potentially slow Giannis down in a similar way. But I'll defer to the rest of them after I read this dono. So thank you, D Wilk 50 for the $4.99 dono. He said Bam challenged a hell of a lot of shots today. They pulled him out the paint with switches and they got rebounds. Spo will do something. Yeah, like we said earlier, Bam is a defender that makes you miss, not necessarily blocks your shot. So, but yeah, Ari, I want you to answer Ethan's question. Is it smart to have them guard? Is it smart to have Jimmy guard Giannis?
Yes and no. Yes, because he's probably your best perimeter defender, but maybe not because of the reasons you guys had mentioned, and also because Giannis does most of his damage in the paint and near the basket, right? So definitely, it might take something out of Jimmy a little bit, but I don't fully subscribe to that because I feel like, and this is purely eye test, I feel like Jimmy spent a good amount of time on Giannis in last year's playoff series, and he was pretty good in that series, averaging 23.5 points per game on, I don't remember, good percentage, something like that. So I don't really know if I'm all the way there. I think with Giannis, you got to throw him different looks all the time. I think Bam spends a lot of time on him. I think Jimmy spends some time on him. I don't like the idea of Trevor Ariza on him unless he's fronting him and then you're sending help every single time because he just can't guard him down there. Like he's getting bullied and blown by every single time. Like if you can't guard him in the post and he's blowing by you on the perimeter, it's probably just not a good matchup. So maybe more Trevor Ariza on Drew Holiday, and then you stick with, a rotation of Bam, Jimmy, and sending help on Giannis down low.
I got one. I got one more. Actually, let me throw this one to Brian, then I'm going to dip because I got to post the podcast. Brian.
Hey, you got to get your Chinese food.
Well, that's coming too. But let me ask you this. I thought this was the best defensive game I've seen Goran Dragic play the entire season. Right?
Yeah, no, he looked great on defense. I don't think it's necessarily repeatable. He had that week off, and we talked about he's 50 years old. But he looked great tonight. I think that with Dragic, it's always going to be about his offense, right? So while you may get the defense in spurts, you're not necessarily relying on that for any amount of time. But he did look good. But again, he looked good tonight.
Ethan Sconey, before you go, I want to let you know something on this post-game show. I asked the questions here, boss. I just want
to. I stopped asking questions of Alex at the end because he was just he's on this thing. It's Spo's fault on Bam, and I'm like, look, and the other thing was, I don't know what the hell was going on at the end of the game. I don't why they didn't call the timeouts. I don't know why Jimmy didn't foul. I
will say this. To that end, it's really interesting. If there's one guy that never gives you bad body language, it's Eric Spoelstra. This was a bad body language game from Eric Spoelstra at the end of the game. When that turnover from Jimmy happened, you could see his face like, that wasn't a good idea. Like that wasn't a good thing.
So Clarence Jean Lewis, thank you for the $2 Canadian. He said, did Spo lose confidence in none after one game? No, I think Goran Dragic was playing out of his mind, and so he went with the hot hand in that case. And that's what you can expect him to do between none, Hero,
but Royal,
and
Goran's going to close. Goran's going to close every game. I think what we saw today is Goran's going to close every game. I
don't think so.
You don't think?
I don't know. He looked good today, but we've seen like this isn't. We've never been able to get this Goran for consistent like stretches of the season. So it's like if Goran plays like this today, then I'm curious about what he's going to play like. Curious is an optimistic way of saying I'm worried about the way that he's going to play in game 2.
Who do you think Jimmy wants to close with?
Goran,
the hero.
Thank you.
Not a chance.
If you made a list of the guys you worry about on this team, I think Goran and Jimmy are at the bottom of this list.
Ooh, I don't know about Goran. I don't
know about Goran. Like,
Brian's been losing
maybe
sleep
last
on
year.
Goran all year.
maybe last year I agree with you, Alfredo.
Yeah.
But like this year, it's kind of like I'm more confident that none has a bounce back game than I am about Goran.
I don't think he was bad. You think he was bad tonight? I think he was fine.
He was
Not
just whatever.
necessarily.
All right.
Yeah, he was blah. Like it's
Hero
not a
was
game.
bad.
He wasn't
Yes,
ideal.
yeah.
Like he wasn't
wasn't
ideal. He was just
Right.
like he was a participant, is what he was.
He was okay.
Someone told me he was going to be a beast, so I want that person to
Shut
comment.
up, Brian. Quit talking about the commenters.
Bye. Check out 5 on the floor. I'm posting
Please.
it. If you want Chinese, come over. Bye.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure that's not an offer to men. That's only an offer to women. If you want Chinese, come over to Ethan's house. But yeah, let's get back into the Bucks game. Let's talk about Giannis a little bit because I think we defended him extremely well. I don't know who hasn't talked in a while. It feels like Jonathan Rumlicon has been quiet for a long time, so I'm throwing this to you. Talk about the way that we defended Giannis tonight, bro.
I felt like it was perfect, right? We started with Jimmy on him, but we switched to Ariza about 5 or 6 possessions in because that's what I was worried about too, is overusing Jimmy on him as well. But we did a lot of great things. If depending on the player we had, we were fronting on him or just trying to push him out of his spot to make him, come out. There was one time in the second quarter, I believe, that he saw Bam and he was like, "All right, I'm just gonna pull up because there's like no way I'm gonna take it in on this guy." But the way that Bam was able to guard Giannis, especially late in the third and fourth quarter and overtime, of course, was just great. He was able to body him, and every time Giannis had to take a shot, he had to do it fading away. He had nothing going, with momentum to the rim. He was always backing away from the rim. So I loved what we did defensively with Giannis, helping off of other players to get to him. I felt like with the help, we were doing a good job helping and then covering the help as well. So everything defensively, I thought was phenomenal. I felt like we probably had one of our best defensive games of the year as far as, the way we schematically did everything. Offensively, it just wasn't there.
Yeah, so Ben, thank you for your comment. He said they lost because y'all invited Cop Alf. Hey, bro, thank you for watching us for over a year because you have to
How the fuck am I Cop Alf when I'm the one who's been to prison?
I'm telling you. But you remember they were telling you that you look like every Mexican cop on TV.
Well, that's also that's like a double insult. First of all, the first insult is cop, and the second insult is Mexican. I'm Cuban.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so Alf, I'm going to throw Ariel and Brian a different question, but Alf, how do you feel like we defended Giannis tonight? Like, what were you?
I think they did a wonderful job. Like, this is a team that you're never going to worry about that. You're never going to worry about Eric Spoelstra and his plan. And this is a high IQ team. You just see it every time they go get a guy. They go get Andre Iguodala. Who's the Andre Iguodala? Andre Iguodala is a high IQ guy. Trevor Ariza has played in finals, played with Kobe in big games against the Celtics. They're always going to get that high IQ, 3-and-D guy, 6 assist guy in the rotation. So they're always going to have smart basketball players, and they're always going to have a good plan. So, they were going to defend them well. They were going to have a good plan. I just think that Giannis, and not to I saw in the pregame show that Ethan thought the Bucks, if they got through the Heat, they could win it all. I don't think so. I think that Giannis's game has to be reconstructed. I understand he won 2 MVPs, but those 2 MVPs are regular season awards. Nobody cares about those. I think his game has to be reconstructed. It has to be reconstructed from the free throw line down, and he just has to be a dominant center. That's what he is. He's dribbling around, like I'm pretty sure you could track it. Dribbling around the 3-point line. I think I would venture to guess their offensive efficiency, anytime that he catches it inside of 5 seconds of the 24-second shot clock, I would venture to guess that their offensive efficiency is somewhere in the bottom 5 in the league.
Yeah, so
I just think it's absolutely useless whenever they start their offense with him with the ball at the top of the 3-point line.
Yeah, so to your point, like it's kind of like his game needs to be reconstructed. It was shown particularly when he tried like Jimmy pulled the chair on him to make because it's like Jimmy knew what he was going to do before he did it. He tried that spin move that he always does when Bam was guarding him and Jimmy was right down the weak side that forced to travel. Like those types of things. Like Giannis's game is predictable once he gets to the paint because you know he has two moves that he can go to, the Euro step and the spin move. They usually work most of the time, but yeah, Alfredo, you're getting killed a little bit. He said Alf looks like the border cop who takes bribes from the gringos.
I probably would.
Yeah,
he's not lying. He's not lying.
He'll be back in jail, Alf. He said Capitalize that Alf is the Cuban Sports Center, bro. Yes, he is. Thank you, Anthony Villamil for the $5 dono. If you're going to donate, say something to us, bro, so that we can address what you want to talk about. So Ariel and Brian, I'm going to give you guys a different one. I want you guys to talk about what we could do better about Chris Middleton next game. So, Ariel, we'll start with you.
It's tough because the way the Heat play, or rather the personnel that the Heat have defensively, you're frequently going to have a not great defender on Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday at some point. Like it's if you put, say you have Jimmy on I don't know, Jimmy on Chris. Here's the thing. Let me restart this. Bam is usually going to have to guard one of Giannis or Brook Lopez. If Jimmy, as we saw in game one, is going to spend a lot of time, not all the time, but a lot of time on Giannis, you still have, two perimeter guys in Drew and Chris Middleton that are going to hurt you from the perimeter, and you don't have the defenders for them because you're playing a lot of lineups with two or three of, Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn on the court. So it's frequently going to, result in one of those guys being matched up with one of Drew or Chris. There were a lot of times where, Duncan was on Chris Middleton tonight, and I thought he did a relatively good job on him. Like Chris is a good basketball player. He's a really good shooter from both the mid-range and three-point. And he's just going to get to his spots. Like it's kind of hard to bother him. You can put Jimmy on him a little bit more and have Bam spend more of his time on Giannis. But then the problem is, you're downsizing as far as the center matchup goes. You're going to have like Trevor Ariza try to stick with Brook Lopez down low, and that's just going to be a real problem on the boards. Maybe it works out better because you do a better job on the perimeter, but then you have to make an extra concerted effort to rebound the ball on misses. So I guess the answer would probably just be simple and put your better defenders on Chris Middleton more frequently, but it creates other problems. So there's not really a perfect solution in my opinion.
Yeah, so Alfredo, they say your mustache
Clippers, man.
They say your mustache look like it smell like croquetas and cafe con leches.
That could be accurate.
Ben said,
today, beer and pancakes.
So Ben said Goran just called out Bam on the post game. You love to see it. Hey, Alfredo, not Alfredo, Alejandro, could you find that clip for us? Like, I don't know if you can find it on Twitter or something, but if you can find that clip for us, that'll be great. Let me know in the private chat whether or not that's possible. Brian, talk about how we can better defend Chris Middleton.
They can better defend Chris Middleton by paying him to take a dive. There's not really much that they can do, right? I mean, Ariel basically said it. Like, I just don't know if this team has the defenders to slow Chris Middleton down. I mean, I guess you could throw doubles at Chris and hope that whoever's on Giannis. I mean, I guess whenever the ball finds Giannis, that whoever Giannis's man can contain that matchup, which I think that they can. But outside of that, I don't know that there's much else that you can do. Just kind of hope that he has a bad game. And for what it's worth, like, Duncan is not a great defender, but I trust him enough in this series to at least kind of hold his own and, and keep Chris from completely going off. I mean, today he apparently was only 10 for 22. So they did a pretty decent job, right? Yeah, outside of that, I think you kind of just live with it.
So I don't know how much more of this Alfredo Arteaga slander I'm going to tolerate, but it is funny. Somebody said Al's mustache looked like it's planted evidence.
Whoa. What is that?
That was big. He said Al's mustache looked like planted evidence. First of all, that's definitely the best beard on the panel.
Yeah.
Well, mustache anyway. Ariel has you probably beat in the beard department. Jonathan's beard is pretty nice too. I am definitely in the bottom of the barrel when it comes to that. This shit patchy and all. Like, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to go.
I gotta get into that just for men thing because my problem is that all of this is white and my beard and my mustache is black.
Or you can get a Manscaped and use the promo code 5RSN
Saw
to get
that,
20%
saw
off.
that.
And
Use
that's
it on
you
your
know.
face.
Manscaped doesn't even sponsor the post-game show, but hey, yeah, don't use it on your balls and your face. Otherwise, you're going to get bally bumps all over your face. But while we're waiting for our guy Alejandro to pull up the Goran comments, I want to tell you about another sponsor of the 5 Reasons Sports post-game show, and that's Therapist Preferred. Therapist Preferred is a premium CBD company. They sell 100% THC-free, third lab verified THC products. Most popular products are the strawberry lemonade and green apple gummies. I have the green apple gummies. Well, I had the green apple gummies. I've went right through them motherfuckers. They taste just like candy. But yeah, when you go to therapistpreferred.com, make sure you use the promo code 5 Reasons. That's the number 5 Reasons for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Look, they are wonderful products that help you with sleeping. They help with your mind and your body. So make sure you check them out. Make sure you look at all their products. Don't just take our advice, but use the description link. Not the description link. That's for Vertigear. But make sure you use the promo code when you go to therapistpreferred.com and then check out some of their products. They have a bunch of great things. What else you guys want to talk about? Alfredo, you're a host too on your own show. Tell us what we're going to talk about right now.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, does anybody else do what I do, which is after a bad loss, I start looking at games like this one, like the Mavericks and the Clippers, and hoping for the Clippers to lose. So somebody else joins us in the misery.
100. I'm gonna hate watch the rest of the games today.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing today. That's what I'm doing today.
Oh, I absolutely do.
I don't know about y'all.
I absolutely do it. I don't.
Oh,
there we go. I'm sorry.
why does Goran look like a ghost?
Hey, bro. First of all,
Not that far off from it.
Don't you dare question the great Alejandro of Villegas, okay?
I just hope
can't say his
Goran's
last name
okay.
right.
That's all.
Yeah, I mean, he's black and white and the rest of it is blue. Whenever you play Alejandro, we're just going to shut
Much
up.
better.
And listen.
And we had our chances. We didn't take them, but pressure was all on them. They need to win at home. So it was a close game. I feel like we had our chances, but unfortunately we didn't take them. But first game it's over, so we gonna adjust and try to get the next one.
Goran, 10 of your 17 shots were threes, 9 of Jim against their drop defense
Of the league to give in threes. So I think so we have a great shooters who can make threes, and I think so the plan was to take open ones, and we did it. We missed a lot of easy ones, mid-range shots, and definitely that hurt us a little bit. But overall, we were in the game. That's what it's encouraging for us. We didn't have the best performance as a team, but we know that we were there. So.
And lastly, last year you started the playoffs, you came off the bench, you look very comfortable out there. Is it sort of a playoff Goran time again? You feeling sort of good this time of year and just the way it went for you, at least today?
I mean, this is what it's all about, those games. I love those games. I know the preseason, it's important, but this is what we play for. And, I just want to be out there, help my teammates, and, be here for them.
Thank you.
Next, we go to Anthony Chang.
Hey, guys, work around him.
He got that ability to put the ball on the floor and be more physical and try to, challenge him at the rim. I know Lopez is big, but I think so. Bam has that quality that he can do many ways. He can score many ways against him. So, we're gonna have to watch the film and, see how we're gonna attack the next game, and hopefully we're gonna make some changes.
All right. Thank you, Alejandro.
Yeah, everybody
So-
doing that. Everybody doing the looks like game on the comments.
Got 16 shots at the rim.
Oh, we
today.
can still hear him in the background,
Got a
Alejandro.
lot of open threes.
To go
But
for Goran Dragic.
Okay, what were you saying, Alfredo?
Yeah, everybody's playing the looks like game, and everybody saying like one guy says Goran looks like Leo at the end of the Titanic. No, but Goran Dragic looks like every guy that Denzel Washington's ever killed at the end of a movie.
Looks like nearly headless Nick.
Goran Dragic is every person in the goddamn what it is, the transporter. That's not a transporter. That's Jason Statham or whatever.
Yeah, Goran Dragic looks like everybody that Denzel Washington has ever killed at the end of a movie.
What's the movie with Denzel Washington killing motherfuckers? Is it like Tranquility Tranquilizer.
Equalizer.
The
Great
Equalizer.
movie.
Yeah,
Great movie.
Gordon Dragic is every villain in the Equalizer. That's who he
I
is.
love that movie. I can watch that movie 5,000 times.
Jimmy
Did you see
Butler is
the
going to be
Equalizer
the
too?
equalizer for the rest of the series.
Yes, indeed. So, Ira kind of asked my question. He didn't ask it right. He asked Gordon if he was feeling good, but he didn't do it right. So we're going to get some predictions for game 2, and then we just going to wrap it up right here, but pay some bills and talk about some of the other shows. So, Ariel, we're going to start with you. Game 2. The boy feeling good?
The boys feeling good. I think the Heat, showed a lot of encouraging signs in this game. They, like we said, they didn't play very well offensively at all. Part of that is due to the Bucks defense. Part of that is due to just the Heat just missing shots. Like they got a lot of good looks, at the rim, bunch of missed bunnies and stuff like that I expect them to make going forward. I think Jimmy has a better game and the Heat get the W in game 2.
Yes, indeed. Brian Young, the boy feeling good?
See, I don't know, man. Like,
here you go with the bullshit.
No, I'm just saying, like, okay, if the Bucks had hit half the threes that the Heat hit tonight, it'd be plus 15 points for the Bucks, right? Which again terrifies me. Like, I don't expect the Bucks to shoot 16% from 3.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that is a very real issue. That being said, I have this feeling that the Heat are going to split, right?
There we go.
So the boys feeling good. I think the Heat are going to take game 2.
There we go. Have some guts on this show. Jonathan Ramakan, the boy feeling good?
The boy feeling good. If you would have asked me this an hour ago when I hopped on the stream, I would have probably said the opposite answer because I was feeling very emotional off that loss. But I feel like there's a lot of positive takeaways from this game. Defensively, we did a lot of good things, right? There was a lot of positive things that we could take away from this game. And also, the positive about losing this game is that Bud isn't going to make as much adjustments. So Spo's going to come out, understand what adjustments he's going to have to make. I feel like Bam is going to be play with more conviction, probably take that 8 to 12 mid-range jumper a little bit more. Everybody's hounding on for him to do that. So I feel like if we do those two things, like Ariel said, get those bunnies by the rim. There was 5 or 10 shots off the top of my head I can remember that they had just right at the rim, easy little looks that just didn't go in. If those can go in and we continue doing a majority of the other things we did, I feel like we can get this win. And until we lose, we still, like I said in the pregame, are the reigning, defending, undisputed Eastern Conference champions until we get knocked out, which not's going to happen. Heat in 6.
Thank you very much. And the reason that your emotions change is because the OG Alfredo Arteaga has been sprinkling wisdom on us like pixie dust throughout this entire fucking hour, all right? So, Alf, the boy feeling good?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why.
No, Alfredo. No, Alfredo Arteaga. You can't answer the question like that. Alfredo Arteaga. The boy feeling good?
Yeah. Is that what you were looking for?
No, Alfredo Arteaga.
The boys are feeling good.
There we go.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Yeah, the boys are feeling good. There's a science to this. Had they won today, I was ready on Monday's pregame to call a 20-point Bucks win. But now it went the other way, right? Bucks win a close one. So what are you going to get on Monday night? A desperate Miami Heat team. And a desperate Miami Heat team is probably one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the NBA. So desperate Miami Heat team, they win by 6 or 8 on Monday night. And this series is tied coming back to Miami.
Yes, indeed. So Ben said, "Al sprinkling wisdom is like sprinkling crack on suspects he arrest." Ben, bro, we have missed you for most of the year. So y'all know where the boy is about to go. The Heat are about to blow that shit out. Fuck is you talking about? Listen, we saw enough today to justify everything that Heat fans believe. Heat in 5 could have even be justified today. Miami thoroughly outplayed Milwaukee in this game, in my honest opinion. We just didn't get average games from our superstars. If we got C-level games from our superstars today, we win this game in convincing fashion. Everybody's feeling good, and everybody's pumping that Heat in 5 shit. I pick Heat in 7, but I believe that starts with us getting game 2. Jimmy's going to bounce back. Bam's going to bounce back. And the rest of the team is going to – maybe it might not be Gorn and Duncan this game. Maybe Hero has a bounce-back game. Maybe Kendrick has a bounce-back game. But I see that there were pockets of times where everybody had an opportunity to score. They're giving us open looks, and it's only a matter of time before we knock them down. So, time to pay the bills. We paid most of them, but Jonathan Rumlicon pay Vertigear.
Yeah, so what you want to do, if you're feeling a little bit bad after this loss, go ahead and spend some money on your nice chair so you can watch the next game in some better comfort. You can feel a little bit better. So go to vertigear.com. Actually, click the link in the description. You're going to go to the affiliate link. They'll take good care of you. And you can actually go ahead and put in your height and your weight. Instead of browsing through all the chairs, you don't know which one's going to fit you. You're 7'3" or you're, 4'11". Just go ahead and put the weight and the height in there for you. It's going to find you the perfect chair. And you can pick the color that you like, and then go ahead and click order, click checkout, put in your credit or debit card, and you're going to finish up and order. And then you're going to get in a couple of days a chair that you can put together in less than 15 minutes, unless your name is Ethan Skolnick.
Absolutely. Okay, so guys, hold on to your butt cheeks. You're about to witness a masterclass in bill paying, okay? Because we share a sponsor with the great Alfredo Arteaga. So Alfredo Arteaga, today you're going to pay Miami Grill.
Oh, Miami Grill. Why wouldn't you, right? They got the gyros, they got the cheesesteaks, they got their burgers that are great. But, of course, their gyro platter, you got to get that. And, of course, their regular gyros, which they have them right now. You could even get them catered because they give you, 20 for I believe it's $12. What kind of deal is that, right? Miami Grill, you could get them anywhere. You could go on the website, miamigrill.com. You can find the nearest Miami Grill, go get some wings, go get some gyros, go get a cheesesteak. The best fast food place this side of anywhere.
So, Alfredo Arteaga, that was a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. I would only deduct points because you say gyros instead of gyros. But you made it up.
Gyro. Isn't it gyro?
No,
Finally,
it's not.
yes, it
you
is.
are in South Florida, are you not?
You're spot
if you walk outside and somebody is talking about gyros, you're going to hear gyros.
Don't listen to this man. He's poisoning you.
But he made it up when he called them things wangs. Okay, you hear me? That's what they're called in Miami Grill. You got to order the wangs. You feel me? All right, so let's talk about some of these shows that we got coming up. And we're going right back to Alfredo Arteaga because I want to talk about a show that he is on. It's one of the staples of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. And I think you guys came out with an episode yesterday or today. But talk
Wednesday.
about Wednesday. Okay, so talk about 3 yards per carry and what people can expect when they look for that.
Oh, we got one more before we go on hiatus. We'll do one on Wednesday. And then we go on hiatus for the entire month of June. Maybe we come back for the last week of June. So we'll be off for 3 weeks. And it'll be all Miami Heat basketball as they make their way toward the finals.
I'm fucking with that. I like that idea. So, Jonathan Ramakan, talk about walkouts and knockouts and fight week on 5. Fight week on.
All right. So actually, we have the member of our entire fight cast here. When it comes to boxing, nobody's going to take care of you better than Mr. Alfredo Arteaga. He is the master.
Oh, I got to get this in. Tonight, massive fight. I know, Ariel, you're a fan. Ramirez, Taylor, who you got tonight?
I got Ramirez, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not a real I don't even know who those guys are. You might not be confused.
Alfredo's the boxing guy.
Great fight tonight. Also, Garbrandt's has a UFC card.
Garbrandt and Rob Font.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's going to be on tonight, right? So let's get on to these shows, right? With boxing, and the major UFC events, we'll take care of you either Wednesday or Thursday at 5 p.m. That's me and Alfredo Arteaga. It's going to be fight week on 5. When it comes to MMA, me and Ariel are going to take care of you every single week. Obviously, we're covering the Heat today, so we're going to probably do a post show Monday or sometime in the week covering the Cody Garbrandt-Rob Font fight that's going on tonight, because that's going to be a potential title eliminator, seeing who's going to the title. Yan Xiaonan, one of China's hottest prospects, is actually fighting Carlos Esparza. Winner is going to fight Thug Rose, so that's going to be a fun one to see as well. A couple other fun fights in there. And, what you really want to do is, check out both of these shows. But the Heat are going to be finished playing, in about a month or two after we win into championship. When there's that 2 months and you're not watching football and you're not watching basketball, UFC is going to be on every single weekend. So hop on these shows now, kind of learn the game, kind of learn the rankings, how the standings works and everything with me and Alf, and then me and Ariel as far as the MMA goes. And then when it comes to summertime and Connor's fighting or Connor's fighting Dustin, you know what's going on. You're able to stay ahead of the game.
I don't know any of those people that you just named, but I am astounded that there's somebody named.
Greg. Come on, dog.
The walk shit, but yeah, the fact that somebody named Thug Rose intrigues me, and I want what's Thug Rose's ethnicity? I just would like to know.
What is she?
White, I think.
She's like European something.
He's European.
She was born
European.
here,
She's
so
not-
she's
she's-
American.
Isn't she from Ukraine?
Yeah.
Ukraine. I think that's what it is.
Oh, it's a she.
Yes.
Yeah, last name
she's
is not
like-
a
but she's
unit,
like,
so
Hey,
very
she's a
European last name.
that's a bad lady right there.
Oh,
that
that
is Pete
Knocked
Rogers.
out for the
Even-
championship
I
last
just
night.
want to see somebody named Thug Rose punch somebody in the face.
You
and I
sure
think
do.
Yeah,
Let me tell
she's
you.
badass. She's badass, Royal. When you think about Rose Namajunas, Thug Rose, think about like a girl that's good looking enough to be like a model, at least like a dress model. But she decided to shave her head to beat bitches' faces in.
That's right.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Oh.
she's bad. That's a
Oh, that
She was
is
like,
a
I don't want to
great
be known
fighter.
for my looks.
Great
I'm going to
fighter.
shave my head and just kick ass.
great fighter.
I'm even more intrigued. I'm going to be watching both the shows. So, Brian, I want you to talk about the shoot around.
The shoot around is a 140-second. Again, I don't know the definition of clip, but I'm going to call it a clip with our very own Ariel Atias and Gadiel Cartagena that they post every morning on game days. You can find it on either one of their Twitters. It's also on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Knowledge and experience are the two most valuable things in the human life. You need knowledge to be able to experience things. So increase your knowledge by watching the shoot around every day or every game day. And know more about your favorite team, man. This is what you love. You love to watch basketball. You love the Miami Heat. So why not gain knowledge about the game, understand what they need to do for that day, and be on your way as a happy fan.
Yes, indeed. I just want to acknowledge that Vel Judah Israel. I have seen you in the comments the entire time. I'm going to completely ignore all your little "Let's go Buck" shit.
Yeah,
The
go do something
entire
else
time.
with your time.
This is
Don't
no.
bore me.
Actually, I appreciate you
Unless
for
you're
coming here.
donating.
Come listen here. Listen to me crack your team's ass wide open when we start whooping that ass, and then you donate your money. That's what I want your money after we get finished cracking that ass. I don't want it tonight. Ariel Latiz, talk about the full court press.
The Full Court Press is a general NBA show that I do with Gadiel Cartagena and Marco Romo. Last week, we had the powerful George Sedano from ESPN on. That show did over 2,000 views. It was our best show to date. The next one is going to be sometime early this coming week. I'm not sure exactly what day. It won't be on Monday, I don't think, because the Heat are playing. So it'll probably be Tuesday or Wednesday, but keep your eyes peeled to, our Twitter timelines, the 5 Reasons Network's Twitter. We'll give you all that info. But it's, like I said, general NBA show. We cover the whole NBA. We'll talk playoffs because, of course, it is playoff season, and we'll keep you updated. We'll cover all the series and everything you need to know with regards to that. So that's the Full Court Press. Myself, Gadiel Cartagena, and Marco Romo.
Wonderful. Last part that we're going to talk about is Feel the Heat. That's with Alana Tahara and Michael Christian. They had somebody on there. I haven't gotten a chance to listen to the episode yet, but
Jeremy Taché.
Jeremy Taché, that's his name. Jeremy Taché was on this week's episode. Make sure you guys go check that out. They're on the live stream once a month, but they put out an episode once a week. So make sure you check those things out. Clutch Corner. I don't know.
Good, bad, and ugly tomorrow.
Huh?
Good, bad, and ugly tomorrow.
You doing another live one?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, me and Jonathan Ramakan did the good, the bad, and the ugly live, and that shit was lit. Y'all should go ahead and y'all check that out too. Listen to Ethan little funk ass podcast after this. They talked about something different. I'm gonna check it out just because he told us that Alex Toledo was arguing with his ass.
I want to hear that.
Yeah, I want to hear that. So I'm pretty sure everybody else does want to hear Ethan be wrong and Alex be right the whole time. So I'm with that shit. So as always, thank you guys for joining us in the comments, making the show much more fun than it would have been without you. Thank you to Ariel Latias, Brian Young, Jonathan Rumlakan, and one of the GOATs of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, who will be with us for most of the playoff run, you guys. So
all of the playoff runs.
All of the playoff runs. So thank you.
Yeah, all 30 games. All 30 games. I'll be.
Oh, absolutely. My man calling in at 30. So thank you to my guy for jumping on here with us. We'll see you guys next time. Play the video, Alejandro.
Team 5.